What's up, guys? You know who it is. Marcus J. Jackson with another Live Life episode. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about we all have a role in preventing suicide. All right, we all have a role in preventing suicide. All right, so Live Life series is dedicated to helping people transition from fear-based belief systems to expanding their consciousness and knowledge of self. Okay, I started the Live Life series just simply because one of my buddies, we spent some time in the Army together, and he decided to take his own life due to things that were going on in his life. And I'm especially going to be reaching out. Just for the rest of the week, I'm going to be doing things related to the LGBTQ plus community because my buddy decided to commit suicide because he was gay and a Christian. He was very, very high up in the church hierarchy, and he decided to take his own life because he could not find the balance. He could not figure out how could he be Christian and still be gay. That was just something that he could not wrap his head around. And I really wish there was more platforms like this where people could reach out, leave comments. Not a lot of people are talking about mental health, and I think that we should do that. We should always allow for conversation about this. We should always ask, especially if we think these people are in danger of that. And so I'm going to go over some symptoms and well, not symptoms per se, but just things to look out for today. And I'm going to be covering some statistics as well. So I just want us to be aware. Okay, I just want us to be aware. Especially the little man in North Carolina. He was a fourth grader, and he decided to come out to his mom that he was gay. And his mom, she congratulated him and told him how brave he was, and he was really excited, like moms should do, definitely. And she said, "I still love you, you go boy," basically. All right. And he goes to school, does the same thing, felt completely comfortable thinking that it was okay for him to go ahead and come out to his friends as well. I'm assuming he based that off the reaction that he got from his mother. So therefore he took it to school, came out to his friends and teacher, and it didn't turn out quite well. They began to bully him, and because of that, he decided to take his own life as well. And it's very, very unfortunate, but the thing is, this does happen. This is real. Okay, it is real. People are exiting because of our lack of understanding, because of our lack of intervention. All right, and like I said, we all have a role to play in preventing suicide. Okay, so let me go ahead and get my I got a late start. I had a client that ran over, so just bear with me and we will get it rocking and rolling. Let me check my comments real quick. Okay, shout out to Michael Kennedy. He left a comment. "My daughter tried a month and a half ago and she is 12. Wow. Now, I don't know if you're still on. Do you care to share why? Or if not, that's no problem at all. Okay. Shout out to Lisa, Randy. I want to say Tristaka, Trissell, and Donald Reese. Good morning. Good morning to you all. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, yeah, Michael says I am here. Okay, well, yeah, I'll just leave it as that. If that's something you want to comment further on, then yeah. And just so you know, if you guys are on the fence about suicide, right, and you're watching this video now, I want you to know that you're not the only one that feels this way, or you're not the only one that's been affected by it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. As you can see, people are commenting, and I would invite you to take the time to go down my timeline and look at the videos that are titled Live Life, all right? And look at the comments, look at the responses, look at the views. Okay, so you're not alone in how you feel about these things. And people do get over that. For some of us, this is a temporary situation, and we do come out of it on the other side. All right. So please don't feel like there's something wrong with you, or you're the only one in the world that's going through the things that you're going through. Okay. So by all means, guys, share this video if or if you get any value out of it whatsoever. Share the video, and I'm going to also leave some resources in here real quick. Put some in the comments so you can reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They also have a live chat that you can tap into as well. If you need someone to talk to right now, go ahead and feel free to jump off the video and use that resource, because it's there and available to you. If you are in danger of hurting yourself or someone else, guys, please call 911 and get you some help immediately. All right. So if you want to talk to me afterwards, I usually go to about 1 o'clock. My number is 469-626-7486. And I make myself available from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. at night. However, if you my phone it's on 24/7 because I am a realtor, and I'm also a life coach, and I'm on the phone all the time anyway with clients. So if you call and I don't answer, please leave me a message. Some of you have called, and you see that I do return calls, and it's really me. Leave me a message or shoot me a text message, and I will get back to you. I guarantee you that I will get back to you. All right. So I'll put the resources in the comments, and let me go back to Michael, because he did share. He said she told me she thought she was a burden to me and the family, and that she was pansexual. Okay. Yeah, we have to do a better job educating ourselves. And me too, I'm not exempt from this at all. We have to do our job at educating ourselves and understanding how our children especially feel, because there's a lot going on there. These young people, these people are very, very young, and somewhere we're missing that connection of them having to feel like they have to identify with some type of sexual orientation. Like I've yet to understand that. I've yet to understand that. I don't know if you can touch on that, Michael, but it's just beyond me why a child feels like they're forced to identify with a sexual orientation. And just like the young man in North Carolina, he's 9 years old, and he's come to terms with the fact that he is, that he's gay. I totally get that. But at 9 years old, where did the pressure come from for him to want to, identify with a sexual orientation, just like a 12-year-old? Like, where does that pressure come from that, they feel like they must identify? It is vital. It's a life or death situation that they identify with a sexual orientation and that it's accepted, and like I said, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist or anything like that. I just hey, I just I feel like there should be more platforms out here for people to talk and comment, and you know, Michael, I hope that everything turns out the way that you want it to. I really do, and I hope that she comes through this episode in her life, and realize that she wants to be on this side of life, and and hopefully transitioning herself is no longer an option. Okay, so yeah, strength and honor to you, my brother. Strength and honor to you. All right. Um, so yeah, let me. Okay. So I gotta pick up the pace here. All right. All right. Okay. So, like I said, this week, I'll be dealing with just talking about the LGBTQ plus community, and things to how to help, right? Like I said, like I was just saying, you want to be a and I'm getting this information is right off the suicide prevention Lifeline website. It's suicide prevention lifeline.org. All right. And there's a wealth of information on there. And I'm just going to touch on, of course, they can't put like every little thing on here, but, I'm going to touch on some of the ways that you can help that are listed on here and go into them with a little more depth. So the first one that they have on there is be an ally, right? Regardless if you are whatever you identify as, right? Whatever you identify as, you want to be, especially if you have someone in the family and, especially a child, you always want to be that positive force that's behind them, that has their back, regardless of how they feel, regardless of how you feel. Because no matter what, a child is always going to, their self-esteem, their self-image is going to reflect not how you feel about them, but how they think you feel about them. All right? And now just let that sink in for a minute, because that's what they are basing their self-esteem off of. That's what they're basing their self-worth off of, is not how simply how they think you feel about them. That's what they're doing it for. It's not a, it's challenging, but it's not rocket science. Like they really, they need that positive reinforcement. They need an ally, because everybody, you see, this young man, he went to school. He's in the 4th grade. So he's going to school, right? Where it's supposed to be a safe place. You're supposed to learn, you got the teachers and the principals and the other administration there, to protect the student per se, or interact with the student so that they can feel safe. But him being ridiculed by his friends and bullied and so on and so forth led him, down that road of, that making that irreversible decision. And, my hat definitely goes out to that family. But always be willing to listen, especially if somebody identifies, and I even that bothers me in itself. Like, why are we forcing people to identify as, a lesbian or gay or queer or transgender? Like, what is that? Like, is there something in that that we're not, like, we're missing a connection with, and people are taking it the wrong way, and they're blowing it out of hand, and people are just being outright assholes about it. And it causes depression. It causes anxiety, right? And people do what they do. And me personally, I feel like people's sexual orientation is so private. It is so private, and I'm just like, when do we start basing a person's worth off of who they're sleeping with? Like, it just doesn't, like, I don't get it. But anyway, um, it says, if you're straight, publicly show your support for the LGBTQ community. If you're if you are, if you do identify with the LGBT community, affirm your identity and offer support to loved ones. All right. So yes, definitely. I mean, me personally, I don't have any issue. People do what they do, and they're gonna always do what they do, regardless of how we feel about it. That's just the way it is. Michael says, I have noticed it comes from peers that have come out to close friends. In my daughter's case, and we are getting her the help she needs. Awesome. I really suggest to parents and family members to also talk to a counselor if they have someone that has suicidal behavior, because it has pushed me to my limits as well. Okay, definitely. Yeah, there is, like I said, the suicide prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255, right? And they have resources that you can tap into. They can help you locate someone that is close to you, all right? Like Michael said, you definitely want to get a counselor involved, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever you can do to help, a coach, right? I've been very effective, and my other peers that are coaches as well have been very effective in these experiences. And if you looked at any of my other videos, I'm a former police officer. Did some time in the military. I was a corrections officer, and I worked different levels of security. So I have always been a first responder, and in some of those experiences I've had, it's been with someone who is about to commit suicide, and thankfully, I can't take all of the credit for it. The universe, they arrange things, or they put people in your life, at the right time when you're making these life-changing decisions, right? And fortunately, I haven't, nobody's ever committed suicide on my watch, or and successfully done it, or anything like that. So I'm grateful for that experience as well. I don't know. I always feel like I wish I could have been there for my buddy, but I don't know if hey, that might have been the time that I didn't. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, let's go to the next one. Number 2 would be know the facts, right? So know the facts. Here's one of the statistics I was talking about. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Those comments are like oxygen, and you never know who needs that information. Those little few lines of words could definitely make someone change their mind about being on this side with us, right? Choose this side of life, all right? Because the other side of life is death, all right? So always choose life, all right? Live life. So know the facts is number 2. Over 80% of the LGBTQ plus youth have been assaulted or threatened, and every instance of victimization in an LGBTQ plus person's life more than double the likelihood of self-harming, right? 80%. Think about that, guys. 80% of youth, 80% of people that that identify with a different sexual orientation or alternative lifestyles, like is what I like to call it. Alternative lifestyle. So when you hear me say alternative lifestyle, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the LGBTQ community. All right. So just because you have a alternative lifestyle, I will, not, of course, not everybody is going to agree, right? And everybody's going to have their say so. Everybody's going to feel a certain way because they've been brought up in these fear-based belief systems and they don't know any other way to deal with it besides what they've been taught. Okay? And that's all. I mean, ultimately, that's all you can do until you reach the point of evolution to expand your consciousness, expand your awareness, right? And shift into a mindset of learning as opposed to a mindset of defense and ignorance, right? Because a lot of times we automatically shut off and we automatically give negative pushback or negative feedback on someone who has an alternative lifestyle, whether it be whether it be the poly lifestyle, whether it be the the swingers lifestyle, because there's other lifestyles besides someone being lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, whatever. What about the people who do communal living, right? Where there's a bunch of men and women and children in one house. You don't know what they're doing in there. So just because you see two men together, or they may be kissing in public, or they may be a little too close than what we would deem normal, then we're quick to judge, and that bothers us somehow. That's doing you some harm somehow, and I'm like, that is just beyond me why that happens. I know, I get it, but it's just beyond me. Why does that bother you? Like, why do you feel like it is necessary for you to want to threaten someone because they chose to live a alternative lifestyle, right? And I don't want to get into the whole, well, I didn't choose this or I didn't choose that, because that's a whole nother video in itself. That's just for a lack of better words. All right. But if I think people make decisions that are best for them. Okay, just like we make decisions on a daily basis, right? And although some of us may be suffering from decision fatigue, right? Because there's so many things that come with, this lifestyle. There's so many things that come with a heterosexual lifestyle, right? And we're constantly making decisions, and to have to make a decision on whether we want to stay, in the closet, as they say, because over 80% of us are being assaulted or threatened, that identify with an alternative lifestyle. It's like, okay, now wait a minute. Maybe it is best that I don't say anything about, my sexual orientation, right? But then again, you create this this enslavement, if you will, or you feed to that fear-based belief system, that's a part of the collective conscious. It's like, well, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't, because I don't want to, sit on this and stress and worry, and my cortisol levels skyrocket and I'm stressed out, I'm getting fat and worrying, and I got headaches. So I go into a complete dis-ease of the body, and all because I don't want to express who I am, or I have to hide who I am or how I feel simply because I'm at an 80% chance of being assaulted or threatened. Okay, so I would invite you that for those of you who have been assaulted, or who have been who threatened, or you're here and you attempted suicide, right? Because of something like this. I want you to know that not everybody feels like that. Not everybody wants to threaten you. Not everybody wants to assault you. Okay? There are people out there that care about you, that love you, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you are, because at the ultimate evolution of this, right? Ultimately, we are reflections of each other, right? We are all connected in some way, shape, form, or fashion. If you breathe air, that is your connection to this human body. Once your air stops, you are going to disconnect from this human body, and you're going to cross over to the other side of life. Okay? So it is imperative that we understand that, and before we begin to assault or threaten, right? Because there's some judgment that has to go on in the head before you take that first action. There's some things that go on in the brain or in your mind based off your belief systems or what you've been taught to say that's wrong. Attack that. Threaten that. So don't be so quick to judge. All right. Don't be so quick to physically display your frustration with somebody who lives an alternative lifestyle, because you may be living a lifestyle that that they don't necessarily agree with. I don't necessarily agree with a man or a woman cheating on their spouse. I don't think that's cool. I could react violently to something like that. I mean, anyone could. But, is that the best decision for me? Is that the best decision for, the outcome of what's going to happen when, I either get caught or I catch my wife, or I catch my husband in the act, or, you have to think about these things when, when it happens, or when you get into that, right, and you in that space, and you're reacting instead of responding, it just creates a total chaos, right? And I just want all of us to understand that we do have a responsibility to be compassionate, right? We do have a responsibility to be, empathetic. We're and sympathetic. Like if you know that someone's being bullied and they're being picked on or put down or talked about because of an alternative lifestyle, link up with that individual. Let that individual say, hey, I got your back, man. Okay, I got your back. I'm here. If you ever want to talk, I'll listen. Let them know that you see them for who they are, and you don't necessarily give a damn about them being identifying with whoever they, or having to identify their sexuality. That is so private. That is so private. And and one of the things that my wife and I talked about on the video yesterday, when we talked about homosexuality and the androgynous spirit, right? And because a lot of people don't realize that there's a history behind the androgynous spirit. And there's a history behind homosexuality. And it goes even further. We talked about some information in the Bible about homosexuality, but we also went back into history as well. So these things aren't new. These things aren't new, and the Bible says, like Solomon said, there's nothing new up under the sun. So we got to come out of this, this arrested development state of mind, right? We have to come out of this ignorance that we're just engulfed in because somebody's different we want to attack that. Like, we got to come out of that. That has to be, somebody's sexual orientation should be the least of your worries when we got children out here who are eating genetically modified foods and eating full rolls of Oreo cookies, and children that don't even know what vegetables look like. They can't even identify vegetables, right? Or there's certain fruits they can't identify. Anything outside of apple or orange, they can't identify with it. But they're dead set on identifying of sexual orientation. Something's out of balance there, guys. Something's out of balance there, right? And we got to do our job. We all have a role in preventing suicide, and we have to do our job. Okay, guys. So let me go to number 3 is ask and listen. Be an active part of your alternative lifestyle loved ones' support systems and check in with them often. If they show any warning signs for suicide, be direct. Tell them it's okay to talk about suicidal feelings. Practice active listening techniques and let them talk without judgment. So here's another thing. I just want to reiterate like what I said earlier. There is nothing wrong with you if you have a suicidal thought. I don't give a damn what you read or what they told you, okay, or what you heard, all right? There is nothing wrong with you, all right? It is totally normal, okay, whatever that means, to have suicidal thoughts, okay? And anyone that tells you they've never had a suicide thoughts, they're fucking lying. All right? I'm just point blank, they're fucking lying. I guarantee you they're lying. All right? Because even if you joke about it, right? Oh, somebody just killed me. This day is never going to end. When you say shit like that, like, that's a suicidal thought. I don't give a damn if you're playing or not. It's still a suicidal thought. Okay? So please don't think that there's anything wrong with you, right? There's nothing wrong with you. And here at Live Life, we will embrace you. We accept who you are, okay? Be it a phase that you're going through, when you come out of the other side, or whatever it is. It's not, I believe all of our difficult times and challenges in our lives are temporary, all right? And it doesn't last forever, right? At some point, there will be relief. At some point, things will get better, all right? So we just have to keep going, and we have to stay strong through these storms that we deal with in life. Excuse me.